Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. We are coming at you live, as we do each and every single week at 2 o'clock, to talk about all things building a custom home on your land. We are live on YouTube, live on Facebook. We believe we're live on Instagram.
We are?
We are live on Instagram. All right, we're trying it again. We've got one of our really highly compensated assistants that helped walk us through how to navigate the Instagram. And so we'll let Dawn talk about that if she wants to, but it's up to her. Anyway, so we are live here on Tilson Tuesday, talking about all things building a custom home on your land. I'm Eric Allard, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, here to talk about all things on your lot, joined as I am each and every single week by the marvelous, wonderful, magnificent Dawn Dantzler, Tilson's Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience. She's already typing away. So this is a good sign. Anyway, so folks, jump into, how you doing, Dawn?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Fantastic. Sorry, it's so crazy. Like, you change one little thing.
I know, and it changes everything.
In 5 years of whatever it is we've been doing, it's like, yep, never done this before. Totally forgot how to do an intro. No idea. So, anyway, I feel like I'm swinging a golf club left-handed, which I probably should, judging from my golf scores. Anyway, folks, jump into the chat. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you are in. We want to hear from you. The whole point we do this show every single week is to answer your questions. We want to be sure that you have all the information you and your family need to make the best decision going forward about building a custom home on your land. I don't know if you know this or not, Dawn. Tilson's been doing this since 1932. You may or may not know that.
I heard that.
Yeah. I think you've probably written it more than once.
Probably a couple times.
Yeah. So, folks, we've been doing this for we're going on 100 years. We'll probably get there without too much trouble, regardless of what the world throws at us. We're going to get there because we're a pretty resilient bunch, which is a very politically correct way of saying hard-headed. So we will get there. But, folks, drop into the chat where you're watching from, where you're building, part of the process you are in. We want to hear from you. Any and all things that have to do with building a custom home, financing a custom home, customizing a custom home, getting your property ready for a custom home. That's what we're here to talk about. That's what we've been doing for 100 years. That's all we know how to do. We are truly a one-trick pony here at Tilson Homes. We are really, really good, better than anybody else in the world at building custom homes on your land in rural parts of Texas. It's just what we do. So, Dawn, without further ado, I see, okay, again, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, live on Instagram. And Dawn's going to lay out the rules of what comments get posted and how that works. And I'm going to sit here and look pretty, which I'm like a C-grade actor at doing that. So, Dawn.
Okay.
How's this work?
So, how it's going to work, Facebook and YouTube come through onto my little normal platform. So I can put, comments like Adrian's up on the screen. You're going to see it. So, howdy, Adrian. For being here. And we've got Laura as well. Sorry, I clicked brand new to building on your lot, considering buying a lot in Granbury. So you are in the right place. We are excited to talk to you. So YouTube and Facebook, I can do that with. Instagram does not allow external platforms to access their chat. So that chat is only available on Instagram itself. I cannot put it up on the screen. But I will read your questions out and we'll be sure to answer them for you guys. I am paying attention to you. It's just in a different place. So when you see me looking over this way, that's what's going on, is I'm actually looking at what's happening on Instagram and bringing it back over into here. And all of that is care of our very well-paid assistant, ChatGPT, for explaining that to me. So shout out ChatGPT. For helping me navigate through that. So we will figure it out, but we know that you guys wanted to watch on Instagram, so we are
here. So you're telling me Meta has different rules for Facebook than it has for Instagram. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, because the two started as separate properties, not to get too into
those two
for everybody. They were two separate companies, and Meta bought Instagram, and they are slower to add things to Instagram than they were to Facebook. So they're gradually doing stuff over there. So we'll see. I'm just excited that we're allowed to actually be live. The clock app has still told us no. So we're still trying, but different rules.
You'll continue to get terrible information about building a home on your land then. That's what they're going to get.
So
All right, folks. So yes,
we're working on it.
Join us in the chat. Don's worked very hard on getting us on all these platforms so that we get all the information out to as many people as possible to get your questions answered where you want them answered. So if you're on Instagram, drop your questions in the chat. We'll answer every one of them. Facebook, YouTube, same thing. Y'all been doing this a long time. Not telling you guys anything you don't know. Teach the youngsters how to do this. Help them out a little bit. Show them the way. You're already doing it. You're putting comments in. So we've got some things done. Oh, Don, also, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so this week we thought that we would answer some of the most common questions about building on your land, because we know there's things we hear over and over again. So we wanted to address some of those, especially since we're newer over on Instagram. They may not have heard those answers before, but as always, we're also going to answer whatever questions y'all put into the chat. So if you have questions about what we're saying or questions about a different topic, put them in there and we'll be happy to answer them for you.
So we rely on you for the content. That's kind of the whole name of the game. We know you have the questions, we have the answers. We're pretty sure. So drop them into the chat. We'll answer every one of them. Tell us where you're building, where you're watching from, what part of the process you are in. Maybe you're just now thinking about doing this, beginning stages kind of stuff. Maybe you are engaged in the process fully. You've picked out the house, you've made the customizations to it. You're maybe pre-qual and you're going through your design selections. Maybe you're under construction, or maybe you're kicked back, relaxed, watching us stream on your gigantic, TV over your fireplace in your new Tilson home. But wherever you are in your journey, drop it in the chat. We want to hear from you. We want to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have a few people with us too. We got Sophia here building a Canyon C in Bernie, and we have our first walkthrough in a couple of weeks.
Oh, awesome. Beautiful. That's very cool.
That's great. Then we got Lisa saying, happy Tuesday, y'all. Just my weekly hello and update. The cabinets are in, and this week is countertops and flooring. I wanted to come here and send a big shout out to our Dustin. He's the absolute best and has made this building process so fun. Oh, that's so awesome to hear.
Way to go, Dustin.
Thanks for sharing.
Very cool, man.
We've got Ed saying, hi, y'all. Still raining waterlogged Seattle. As we get closer to finalizing our e-ticket, I'll have a few questions today that might seem a bit wordy, and I'll try not to dominate today's live session. Ask away. That's what
Ask away, Ed. And
no
send
worries.
the rain to the southeast. We need rain.
Yeah. And we got Chantel from Pearland, Texas, in the very beginning stages. Have finally picked my plan in the process of getting land ready, and I'm so excited. Oh, that's awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, ask us questions while you're getting it ready. We'll talk about it.
Nice. And then we got David that says, just toward your never-ending home. It was great. Beautiful home. All right, awesome.
He is referring to the Paladuro, by the way. He's trying to make it. Anyway, he'll do fine. He does not need our help. That's for sure.
Very nice. And then we do have somebody over on Instagram. We've got Tyson asking if Tilson hires subcontractors.
Oh, we do. So when you say hire subcontractors, I'm going to get technical. I know this sounds weird, Tyson, but hiring means we would directly hire someone to work as an employee of Tilson Homes. Independent contractors are exactly that. They're independent contractors. They're 1099. So yes, but our all of our framers, roofers, painters, fill in the blank, right? Sheetrock hangers, sheetrock finishers, concrete finishers. Those are all independent contractors that, yes, we do. We have our building superintendents they have the latitude to go out and interview and put those guys to work. But they are, I just want to be clear that those are 1099 contractors. So they are self-employed. Probably much like yourself, and they do the painting or the hammering or the nailing or the all that kind of stuff. Same thing with HVAC and electrical and plumbing. Those are independent contractors or companies that we contract out to get that done. But we also have our own employees. So the building superintendents themselves, for example, those are full-time Tilson employees. Dawn and I are full-time Tilson employees.
Our warranty people are full-time Tilson employees. Very important.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So anyway, so we just want to be real distinct about that difference. So great question.
Awesome. And then we've got another question from Instagram.
And I'm sorry, going back. And this was instilled in me by the generation previous to me is my grandfather didn't like calling them subcontractors. He actually hated that term.
Okay.
I feel like it made him sound like less than human. He called them trade partners. So we call them contractors or trade partners, but we try very hard not to call them subcontractors. They're independent contractors, because there ain't nothing sub about them. We couldn't get it done without them. So
absolutely. Awesome.
Anyway, Jack Allard's opinion lives on. That's all.
Awesome. And then we also have Tafry is saying we're about to book our pre-construction meeting, building in Lockhart. What should I expect from that meeting with our builder and salesperson?
What do they do there, Dawn?
So that pre-construction meeting is kind of the handoff. So built on your lot, it's actually one of the questions that I was going to talk about is generally two phases of construction, 2 phases of the process. So you've got all of the stuff that happens prior to construction, where we're planning everything out, getting everything prepped for your land, your home design, getting all necessary permits and approvals and financing and all of that lined up. And then you have actual construction. You're going to be working with 2 different Tilson teams for each parts of that phase, for each of those phases. So your pre-construction meeting is the official handoff from your sales team, who took you through all of that pre-work, handing over to the builder for construction. So you're going to meet with the builder and your sales consultant on your property, and they're going to, you're going to have that introduction to your builder. You're actually going to get the keys to your Tilson home that we haven't started building yet, because we want you to be able to enter at any point. So you get a key so that whenever the lock goes up, you can get in. And then you're just going to kind of go through your plans. The builder's going to confirm everything that he knows from that point. Look at what you're doing, where the home's going to be put together, and kind of set expectations of how you prefer to be communicated with, how often you're going to be communicated with, and kind of outline for you kind of a general timeline, just exactly what's going to happen. So it's just an opportunity for everybody to meet at your property and get started. So
yeah, a lot of the utility conversations will happen there too. Kind of when if power is not already there, kind of when that might happen. Water, septic, kind of just get kind of the lay of the land. But yeah, that's exactly what's going to go down there, and then the show begins.
Yeah, all the fun stuff. Yeah, you should at that point kind of know exactly when the foundation is going to go in, and you can start doing all of that kind of planning. So it's very nice. All right, so Ed has his first question for you. He wants to know if Tilson offers reinforced exterior door and window framing during construction to support future home security devices. Since our home will be in a rural area and it's just a residential property, not a hardened security zone, my thinking based on decades in, I'm not sure what, law enforcement with a military background, is to delay any intrusion just long enough for the occupant to be alerted rather than aiming to completely prevent it.
Yeah, so Ed's right on. You just want time to respond. Right. You need a couple seconds. You don't need minutes. You need seconds. Also train in the dark. If you want to go full train in the dark. No one knows your home as well as you do. That's good news. So you have the element of surprise on your side. And you know where all the things and the stuffs are. And so, yeah, so I want to be sure I get the question right. Reinforced exterior door and window framing during construction to support future home security devices. So I'm guessing you're talking about some kind of like steel beams you want to hang on later. And to answer your question, we don't typically do that. However, that being said, there's no reason why we probably couldn't, maybe during the construction part of the process. Certainly we could do it up front. It's just a little more complicated maybe. But there's a little bit of scrap wood material. And I've actually seen it done more with, this is going to sound silly, but it'll serve the same purpose. Rod and curtain blocking. So for example, you block up on either side of the window header, for future curtains, so that you don't have to worry about sheetrock anchors, that kind of stuff. Did that on the first Tilson home I built. Did not do it on the second Tilson home I built. Didn't care about curtains as much, I guess, because we're in a super rural area. We're like, whatever. We were with the motorized Amazon version of curtains that are on timers with the lady that runs Amazon, whose name shall not be mentioned.
No, because she'll start talking to us.
Exactly, we don't like that. But I mean, if you want to put some kind of like, I'm guessing you just mean some kind of interior bars or security or something where you could hang and do those. The reality, Ed, and again with years of law enforcement, if somebody wants in that house, we're gonna get in the house. If the most secure house there ever was would have one gigantic steel door with 6 deadbolts on it and no windows. That would also, by the way, be the most energy efficient house out there.
Just wouldn't be very pleasant to live in.
It'd be very, very depressing to live in. So
yeah.
That's the reality. And so, it's a balance, right, of making the home secure and at the same time not making it where it looks like a prison or a school. So some of the best deterrents I've seen, honestly, Ed, I mean, blink cameras or ring cameras are super inexpensive. There's way better ones you could do that have, but for quick and easy installation that's set up real quick on your Wi-Fi, it doesn't get much better than that. And then postings around the perimeter of the property under 24-hour video surveillance. I mean, as you well know, all you want to do is be a harder target than your neighbor. Really, sorry, neighbor, but I want to be a more difficult target to get into, or at least a less appealing target to get into, and send the bad guys on down the road. Burglars are inherently lazy. Again, you probably know that. So they want the easiest way in and easiest way out, and they're as little as possible. And if they think they're being recorded, I mean, game cams, ring cameras or blink cameras that are close, game cameras on the outside of the perimeter, like towards your gates and things like that. And then as they get closer in, where you're closer to your Wi-Fi, rings, blinks, things like that, that's the way to go. All that data is stored in the cloud. So you don't have to worry about someone cutting your power off or stealing everything and not having record. Like, it's all recorded on Blink and Rings cameras, which is owned by Amazon. Like, they're not going anywhere. They're the reason they're building the gigantic data centers. So that's the way to do it. But the reality is, there's only so much you can do. If someone wants in, they're getting in.
Yeah.
So train hard.
All right. We've got Paula saying we're building a Guadalupe in Lamar County. We have our site evaluation tomorrow. Questions at this meeting, will we receive information on setting up utilities, correct?
Most likely, Paula. So you'll definitely get information on where we anticipate power, water, septic, all that, sewer or septic coming in and going out. So we'll kind of do that based on, as our site evaluator, our land prep specialist is driving in, he'll kind of be looking at, like, hey, where are the transformers, where's power lines, where's water meters, or is there a well? Is it going to be septic? Is there a sewer system? And so you will definitely leave with a to-do list. No question about that. And then it kind of does vary from place to place. Unfortunately, Texas is deregulated, which simply means that not every power company has to do it the exact same way. That's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is they do tend to kind of run themselves and work best for their area, with some exceptions. The curse of that is there's no blanket, thou shalt, here's how it's going to work statewide. So it does vary from place to place. And but most places, especially in rural areas, we find that they're very easy to work with, again, with a few exceptions, who should not be named, because I don't want to take a fight with them.
That's fair.
I want to, I'm not going to. Working on a little restraint. Anyway, so you will leave with a to-do list. Lamar County is not one of those places, by the way. You should be fine. Paris, Texas,
you're good.
DP, Texas, you're good. It's not a problem.
Awesome. And that you'll also plan exactly where the house is going to go, and they'll put the little stakes in the ground and show you all of that. So it'll be a fun meeting. And then we've got Amanda saying, hi, building Angelina C in Medina County. Just waiting on our appraisal to come back and hoping to break ground soon. Awesome.
Yeah. Very cool.
We got Tracy saying, good afternoon. We're hoping to build in Cibolo. It is significantly more expensive to build in this. Is it significantly more to build in the city limits rather than the county? All of the utilities are already available on the lot we want to build on.
Okay, so great question, Tracy. And talking about varying from place to place, that varies significantly from place to place. I haven't heard that Cibolo has turned into one of those places just yet that's super difficult, but they're bigger than they used to be. It is very rapidly growing because of people moving away from metropolitan areas. So it's in Guadalupe County. It's not crazy yet, but it's definitely going to cost more to build there because you're going to have to tap into those utilities. Now, that said, you make a great point where you're not going to have to put in a septic system. You're not going to have to put in a water well. So there's significant cost savings there. The offset of that is you will pay in perpetuity, in other words, forever, as long as you own the home. You will have a monthly water bill for the rest of the time that you live there, and you will have some type of a municipal utility district or MUD tax. In other words, you got to pay somebody to take care of the wastewater management. So the sewer system goes somewhere. The old saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch. It applies. So the advantage of a water well or a septic system is it's buy once, cry once. Like, once it's in, it's yours forever, and there's no monthly bill associated with it, apart from some maintenance here and there. But there are some cost savings up front, initial cost savings for sure, to building inside of a city. But there's also some other additional costs. They'll have a city permit that you wouldn't have in a county. They'll have, like I said, tap fees, or sometimes even the impact fees. So they charge a tap is one thing. So a sewer tap or a water tap. So they charge you to install the meter that they will charge you for in perpetuity. That tattletales on you how much you use, and then they also will have in a lot of cases an impact fee, several impact fees. So some are like a water impact fee. So they charge you for the meter itself to tap into their line, and they also charge you for the impact that you are going to have on the infrastructure as a whole. That's what an impact fee is. So there's a sewer impact fee, water impact fee. I've seen road impact fees. I've seen park impact fees.
Yeah.
So and they're not negotiable. I've tried. So there are more of those fees associated with cities because they have departments that counties don't have. They have a planning and zoning department. They have a building and public works department. Those people have salaries that have to be paid. They have vehicles that have to be paid for, that use fuel, that need to be insured. So with more bureaucracy or more infrastructure, more employees comes more overhead that has to be paid for somehow. Well, the city has no way to pay for stuff but from fees and taxes. That's how they raise money, or pass a bond, which is a tax, regardless of how they label it in the local paper or on the little chloroplast sign.
It's all branding. It's all branding.
It's exactly right. But a school bond that has pictures of kids reading books, that's a tax. Call it whatever you want to call it. It's a tax. So anyway, not saying they shouldn't happen, just saying we did start a whole war over a stamp tax. So that was that.
Oh, we have somebody on Instagram saying they're 60% complete building in Cibolo. So if you want to share with us how that's going, they can let you know if it was more complicated there.
Yeah. No, but as far as I know, the city of Cibolo is not one that we have a bunch of issues getting started with. So.
Okay, awesome. And then David says he's got a real question. What do I need to know about power in proximity to a build site? Should I look for a property that has power lines near the road? I'm assuming the cost increases the further away from the power line the build site is. What should I know before I fall in love with property? Similar questions for water and septic.
Great question, David. I'm glad you asked. So the answer is yeah. I mean, it's all about infrastructure, right? So all of that cost money to put infrastructure in, power, water, sewer, or septic, like roads. It costs money. None of that material moves for free. So the closer you are to existing power, the cheaper it's going to be. Doesn't mean, and it does vary from place to place. The hill country is typically a little bit more expensive than some of our North Texas or more Gulf coastal areas because rock is more expensive to cut into than dirt. That's typically why. But outside of that, it doesn't vary too much beyond that. And then same thing, water is typically the least of the issues unless you're having to drill a well in the hill country. Those are where we do see some pretty astronomical price differences compared to other parts of the state. But if you can tap into public water, especially in the hill country, it's probably a better alternative. But it's not always the case, and that's just the deal sometimes. So, and that's okay. We do both all over the state. But yeah, power lines is a great indicator. Otherwise, also transformers. Yep. Yeah. I've seen those. Look on the sides of the road. Look for your typical water meter box, like black box that's in the ground across the street, those kind of things. Sewer, typical indicator is going to be manholes, that type of stuff. Sewer is one that it's rarely less expensive to tap into sewer than it is to put a septic system in. The problem is typically if you're in a city if you're inside of a city, it's not an option. Like typically the lots are too small for a septic system to work properly. To work in accordance with TCEQ's standards. They'll work fine, but that's a different argument for a different day. The other thing would be they require that you tap into it. They're not going to let you put a septic system in, even if your lot is big enough. I've seen 20-acre sites that are inside of a city or in an ETJ, and they require a septic system. A sewer tap to be installed. In fact, a lot of cases they want you to burden that person with the cost of extending the infrastructure. So we've seen that too, where people are like, oh, you want to build on 20 acres? No problem. You're going to pay to put the manholes and fire hydrants and sewer extensions all the way to where you want your house built. And then we'll do some type of capital recovery with anyone who taps into it over the next 10 years. You recoup that cost.
Good luck following up on that.
Yeah, it's hogwash, all of it. But nonetheless, power's a good one. Start there. And then, reach out to us. Pictures are good. Google Street View's your friend. If you can, let your fingers do the walking. Street View's your friend. Google Earth is your friend. You can get measurements on there. The full version of Google Earth, like the actual application, not the like you can do distance there. But so yeah, great question. Thanks, David.
All right, awesome. Going back to the question about Cibolo, our person on Instagram actually put another cost that we forgot about: time. With cities, sometimes it takes longer for you to get approved. And what they were sharing is it did take them about 3 months to get approved, to get everything built in there. So that's kind of where you are. All right. And Amy is sharing her security system. Her option was to get more dogs as the early warning system.
Well, they'll do it. They seem to be indiscriminate. But the problem is they'll also bark at cows. But
mine will bark if like there's a box in a different spot.
Hey, you laugh. Dogs are a very good theft deterrent.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Especially multiples if they can bark in different octaves. People think they're big. Yeah.
Harmonize almost.
Yeah. And then we got Rebecca saying hi from Friendswood. We are building the Lone Star with an attached mother-in-law suite, and we're sharing. Just put in everything for HOA approval, hoping they'll get back to us quickly.
Awesome. Very cool. Congratulations. I love a good homeowners association.
Then Laura's saying, do you guys offer everything you need, for instance, wells, septic, pools, etc., or would we have to work with different companies?
Dawn, this is a frequently asked question. I don't know if you know this or not, but
it is. And she's also asking about land clearing. The land is on the Brazos with full access. Cool. So, okay, we can offer all of these things. They're not going to be included in the general pricing. Like if you're looking on our website, these things aren't going to be included because they are, they're going to vary from property to property. But this is something we can help you, with any of these. The exception is going to be the pool. Pool's going to be the exception, but like everything to get your property ready. So site access, clearing, septic system, all of that, we can help you as much or as little as you want. So some of our people like to do that. They have connections, they have friends, they want to take care of it. Or if you want us to take care of it, we're perfectly happy to do that for you. And we can get you cost estimates on what all of that would be. Yeah. So when it comes down to the pool, that's going to be a situation where you would need to, our design centers might have an idea of a couple of people, but you would need to kind of find that person. And then for us to kind of work with them, we would need to vet them out. If that's something you were looking to put into the loan, we'd have to kind of consider, are they willing to get paid the way that we get paid, which is when all of the work is done, in order for us to kind of authorize that being financed into the loan itself. We would need to further kind of vet that company, or we would recommend you do it after construction, because the banks get really twitchy. If we tell them there's a pool included in the property, the pool has to be finished before we can close and we can get paid. So it's going to kind of come down to that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Customers not be able to move into their completely finished home because the pool builder is dragging their feet and can't get the pool done. And because it was part of the loan, the lender won't close until the pool's done.
The lender's like, the property's not as described. So this is not what we said we would pay for. So we can't do anything until the pool's done.
But yeah, very important to vet the pool contract. We can certainly help you with that. We'll get a copy of their contract and we'll tell you, this is hot garbage, or this seems legit. Let's investigate further. But everything else, like Dawn said, no problem. We can do that.
Yep. And then Paul is asking, so does this mean that we will start paying for utilities at this location? Can you explain how this works, please?
Great question. Yeah. So she'd asked earlier, how all gets set up. And with most cases, the answer is yes. Now, that being said, we need the power. Power sometimes it takes the longest time to get in. And they won't start billing you until you start using kilowatt hours. Typically, there's some places that they have like a minimum charge per month. It really is minimal. It's usually $15 to $25, whether you use a kilowatt hour or not. It does include a certain amount of kilowatt hours, that's how they measure your energy usage, is in kilowatt hours. And they have a rate set with 9 cents or 13 cents or 25 cents, whatever their rate is. And then same thing with the water. The water, we need that a little bit later, like right when we're ready to start construction, is when we would need the water to go in. And the same thing, they're going to have a minimum monthly charge, right, Dawn? And and you do start paying that as soon as they install it. I'm not saying that to come out and install it the week after your stakeout, but it is good to get on the list and find out what their lead times are, and go ahead and get on there and get them installed. But yeah, so the customer is responsible for the water and electric bill while the home is under construction. It's minimal usage. We rarely exceed the minimum, because we're running some compressors and some saws and mixing grout and mortar. Like, we're not washing clothes, we're not taking showers. Trust me, go out there, you'll see. We're not washing clothes, we're not taking showers, we're not running dishwashers, we're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you will use way more water in your daily living than we're ever going to use. Same thing with power. Like, we're not running any air conditioners till the very, very end. We do the startup, make sure everything's functioning, but we're not running AC. We're not heating water in a water heater. We're not, we're not running.
There's no internet, so we're not watching Netflix.
There's not 7 LED TVs going at one time. The lights aren't on because, well, they're not there yet. So it's not a 130, 200, $400 a month bill or anything even remotely close to that. It's if there's anything at all, it's double digit, and it's low double digits.
Okay, awesome. Debbie's asking, once a basic floor plan is decided, do you do a site evaluation before going any further?
Not typically, no. I mean, if there's something specific about your lot that you are really, really concerned about, we can take a look at it. But no, you don't have to do a full-on site evaluation before you start the process with us. In fact, that's typically done after you sign the initial contract. Well, it's always done after you sign the contract and give us the deposit. We come out and do a site evaluation. If you're just like truly concerned, like, does the house fit? Like, is my property wide or deep enough? That's something that we would need a survey for, and then we would, typically we can figure that out in the sales office. We don't have to go out there based on that information, as well as any building lines or setbacks. But outside of that, I think I can think of 2 times in 25 years that we've gone out to the property and like, after months of trying to, like, there's absolutely no way. You're talking thousands of houses. Okay, so it's a super, super slim chance that there's some reason that we can't build on it.
Okay. Awesome. All right. And then Ed is saying our property will need a well, and we'll also have an above ground cistern. Since we know we'll be using propane, we'll also require a propane tank. We also plan to have a whole house generator. Can Tilson help determine the proper locations for all of these in relation to where the home will be on the property during the site evaluation and stakeout meeting? If not, who can assist with properly staging or preparing a site plan for all of these features on the property to maximize efficiency and prevent them from becoming an eyesore later?
We will, not only can we will determine all those things with you, because there's certain distances that come into play. Like, your septic system can't be within so many feet of this. Your propane tank can't be within so many feet of this window. Like, so there, we have those code requirements. I would say we have it memorized. They have them memorized. I have access to them. But yeah,
your land prep specialist is going to show up with all that info.
All that info, as well as if you want to do any future outbuildings. Like, hey, we're thinking about we may do a barn over here at some point. I'm not sure. Like, okay, well, let's plan for that, right? Like, let's not run our propane line underneath there. So thanks for letting us know. So, but yeah, we 100% help you lay that stuff out. We'll flag it, actually, stick it in the ground, or spray paint it on the ground if it's rock. Anyway, but yeah, we help you lay all that stuff out so that you're like, okay, well, yeah, but you can do that, but this is where your master bathroom window looks out. You'll be looking at a propane tank. Is that what you had in mind?
Yeah, we probably want to tuck that behind the garage.
It's like, it'd be cheaper to have it here because you're running on this line, but is that what you want to look at every day when you wake up? No. So, but yeah, we 100% help with that, Ed. Great question.
Yep. And then Colleen is asking if we offer barn doors.
Matter of fact, we do.
We do.
There's 2 plans. What, the Marshall and the Ranger?
The Marshall and the Ranger are very much that barn dough style of home. So you can take a peek at those. And then Kristen is saying we're building an Angelina A and is so excited to get construction going. Nice. Mariah in the Waco office has been the best. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Good to
hear.
Thank you,
Kristen.
Chantel is asking, will a house, the Brazoria plan, along with a shop and casita, usually be able to share one septic? We are having to put in a well and septic, and just curious on capacity for those.
The answer is yes. So they can share one septic. We leave that up to the septic designer, because sometimes just because they can doesn't mean that's the most cost-effective way to do it. Sometimes it is. It has a lot to do with location, Chantel. So, like, I think you're in Brazoria County. We're sharing, if I remember right. Now I'm confused with the plan and the county, but I think they're both Brazoria. If I remember right. And so for example, in Republic Grand Ranch, we have our design center, the sales office, and a metal building and the Lone Star. They all share one septic system. It's also like 14 feet down below where all the, so like, no problem with fall, no problem with making sure that they can all That's not the case everywhere. Brazoria County is obviously way flatter than North Montgomery County. So we just want to ensure that we can get enough fall or slope down to where the septic's going to be. There are some instances where we have to install like a grinder pump to be able to pump uphill. In those cases, it is worth investigating, and sometimes it's cheaper to do 2 separate septic systems, but not always. So, because usually a grinder pump with a tank that it goes in, sometimes it's about the same price as a whole new septic system. So that comes down to space and how much space one actually has. And so that's where we get the registered sanitarian involved, because they have TCEQ's requirements and how close they can be to your property lines, to the buildings themselves, to your neighbors' water wells, to your water wells. So all that comes into play, but a registered sanitarian does that stuff every day. That's their 9 to 5, and they can help walk us through where stuff can go and where it can't go.
Okay, awesome. Then we have Ernest asking, which months would be the best to start a contract to begin building when it comes to avoiding wet months and cold weather that may affect the build or slow it down?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's Texas. So, and if you lived here long enough, you probably know that it could be 8 degrees in December. It could be 80 degrees in December. We don't know. So occasionally is weather going to slow it down? Absolutely. We there's certain things we cannot do in the pouring down rain. But it's typically your sloppier weather is that kind of January, February for us, for Southeast Texas. But not always. So there's no time like the present. It really doesn't matter. There's not I mean, our build times, they don't protract very much unless there's some kind of genuinely catastrophic event. Like if there's a hurricane and we lose power for 3 weeks somewhere, that's going to inhibit progress for sure.
Yeah.
Because all employees, trade partners, they're all affected, right? They've got houses they have to take care of, shuck out if they flooded. So that's typically where that happens, but not. It's very. I mean, if we get a 3-day freeze, that's about what it is. It's about 3 days, right? I mean, and the news makes it a big deal, and we talk about it for 3 days, and then it's 80. So that's what happens.
All right. Debbie is asking, any idea how much it would be if the house needs to be built up, meaning it has to be 18-inch above the street in Aransas County, not in a flood zone, but the land will need to be built up?
Yeah, unfortunately, Debbie, there's not a way to estimate that on a platform like this, because I don't know how far you are below the street. So let's say, for instance, Aransas County requires it to be 18 inches above the center line of the street. So streets have what's called a crown to them, or they're rounded so that they shed water, ideally. And typically that measurement is to the center of that street. They want you to be 18 inches above that. I don't know if you are level with the street, if you are 4 feet below the street, if you're 2 feet below the street, if you're 7 inches below the street. So there's not a way, and I don't know what house we're building. But the good news is we will know that number. We can get bids on that prior. We also would want to get a elevation certificate probably in Aransas County. So for those of you who don't know, that's on the coast. That's down there, Rockport, Port Aransas, that area down there. Very common for areas that border the Gulf of Mexico or America, whatever you want to call it this week. But those windstorm counties that go on. Galveston County has pretty similar requirements. I think they're 12 inches above the center line of the street, maybe. But yeah, we will get that number and know for sure. But yeah, not in a flood zone. That's good. But again, I don't know how high we're talking. And there are some counties that won't let you just bring in dirt. Aransas isn't one of them yet. But there are counties out there that you cannot bring in fill. But Aransas isn't one of them.
Okay.
They're not communist yet.
Okay. We got Don sharing we're building a Canyon C in Karnes County. Currently in the framing process. We're super excited.
Oh, that's awesome, Don.
Then we got Lance saying, hey, how much would it cost to raise the plate height to 10 feet? Also, do you include any security systems and or irrigation systems? And if not, can you add them during construction? Okay,
so I don't have a cost on that, but good news. All of our sales centers do. The design centers have that to go from, because I don't know if you're going from 8 to 10 foot, 9 to 10 foot. There's some houses that already have 10 foot. So it just depends on the plan, and then your local sales office can get you a number on any of those. Security systems. We don't include security systems. Our coasters are built out in the middle of nowhere for the most part. They cause more strife than they do deterrent. In my opinion, I think they're a scam. Sorry, security system installers. That's my opinion. Look, you're in the country. Security systems are meant to alert the police or local law enforcement. You are relying on Lampasas County Sheriff's Department. Like, they're good at what they do. They're effective. By the time they get notified by the security company and they actually get out to your 7 acres, it's paperwork. Okay. So I rely on, I'm big on the Ring cameras, the Blink cameras, stuff that I can see and monitor myself. That's just me in rural. I live in a very rural area. And I have game cams, and I have I get notified of what's happening on the perimeter of my property. And then I decide if we need to involve law enforcement or not. And we go from there. You can absolutely do them during construction. The best time to do that would be we kind of slow down or shut down for a little bit after we get all the what's called the mechanical roughs in. So once your HVAC and plumbing and electrical are run through the studs prior to the installation of insulation of the spray foam, that's an opportunity. If you want to do any kind of wiring for speakers, I recommend Sonos. It's all wireless and fantastic. You don't need to pre-wire anything anymore. But if you did, if that's just how you slept at night, Lance, and I'm not going to dictate that, that's the time to do it. So run it if you want to run it to your glass break sensors, your window sensors, all of that kind of stuff. Any low voltage wiring, in addition to what we already do that you want to do for cameras, stuff like that. That's the time to do it right then. You can work that with your building superintendent. He'll give you a couple days to get that stuff done. You can get your trade partners lined up to do it and have it done. As long as they don't tie into anything that we've done, we got no problems. Same thing with irrigation. We don't typically do irrigation systems. So that would be done. I recommend that be done really after closing, for sure after final grade. After closing would be the best time to have the irrigation done. The exceptions to that are when we are doing it in some of the subdivisions like Republic Grand Ranch or Texas Grand Ranch or some of the other subdivisions where they do require landscaping to be completed. We do have contractors that will do irrigation in those. But broadly speaking, it's not something that we offer across the state.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. All right, we got Teresa saying she's sitting in a brand new, amazing Tilson home at Big Creek Ranch. We couldn't be happier. Brandon Musney and Mariah Cloyd were the best. I can't say enough.
Oh, thanks, Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa.
That's awesome.
Paula's saying, thanks for the info regarding utilities. Did I hear you say earlier that we will receive our keys at the site evaluation? So not at the site evaluation, at the pre-construction meeting. You'll get a copy of the key or the locks that will be the job key. So the keys that will be used during construction, you'll get different keys at closing because we'll rekey those locks so that all of our trade partners no longer have keys to your home.
We give you the keys when we get paid. That's
yeah.
But you will receive a key that will get you into the job throughout construction at the pre-construction meeting. And then actually what happens is the keys you do get at closing, we don't have to rekey them. That key, when you put it in and turn it, those tumblers will fall and only that key will work on that lock.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was
Schlage has that. Quickset has that. We use Schlage. It's
nice.
Pretty cool feature. That we don't have to go there and replace everything.
We give you that key then. It'll be a while before you won't have a foundation, so you definitely don't have a door yet, but we give it to you ahead of time because whenever that door is up, we want you to be able to get into it and not have to worry about it.
You won't really need it till like the sheetrock stage. That's kind of when we start. That's our pretty routine of we're going to lock the house up now. But prior to that, you just kind of cruise through there. But so don't lose the key. But if you lose it, go to your sales office. We can get you more.
Yeah. Or your builder he'll have another one.
Also
you can get it from them. Yeah. All right. Debbie's saying an old sewer line was under where we want to build. It has been relocated, but they did not remove all of it. It was made of concrete. Will it present any problems? The new one is not a problem.
Yeah, the engineer will probably want it dug out. So we can either get you a bid to do that, or if you want to have a kid or grandkid weekend of fun
removal,
bust it out and take it out. Yeah. So I would, if it were me, I'd want it removed. The engineer's probably gonna want it removed. I would get it removed. I wouldn't want anything that could crumble later and potentially compromise my foundation. So whether that was a tree
Yeah,
stump
because you've
or an old sewer line,
there's a void
it's a cavity. Yeah.
in there. There's a cavity in there. You don't want it collapsing later. So
Yep.
yeah, get it out. All right. Amanda's saying we're having a water softener rough-in placed in the Angelina C side load garage.
Okay.
My husband is wanting the water softener plumbed out on the opposite side of the house, either with or next to the septic. Is that a possibility, or does it need to be plumbed out near the garage?
Well, if we are doing the stub over where you're saying it is, that's where we would intend for it to go. If you want it stubbed out somewhere else, we need to mark it on the plans to stub it out somewhere else. So if we're doing the water softener rough-in in the garage, you need to tell your sales consultant that, hey, we want it over here, even if it's on the outside. That's what it sounds like you may be wanting. You want it on the opposite side of the house, either with or next to the septic. So yeah, that indicates to me that it'll be outside. I personally wouldn't put it outside because it's that much more you have to worry about winterizing. Because there is some exposed pipe. I want it in the garage or in a utility room, me personally. But it's not to say that there are some installed on the outside. Aftermarket, that's pretty much all they do is install on the outside. But it's just something that you have to be cognizant of whenever the 14-degree weather is coming for 3 days. That's exposed pipe, it's where your water goes to first before it goes to the rest of the house. So the idea of the water softener is water's coming from whatever source you have, whether that's a well or public water. It's coming into the house and going to that water softener first before it goes to the water heater and then to the rest of the home. So that's something to consider there, Amanda. But maybe sit down with your sales consultant, and if they need to, they can sit with their regional construction manager and kind of get the best situation for what needs to be done. But great question.
Okay.
So let me back up. Yeah. Okay. So that's for incoming. Outgoing. So there is a drain for water softener. So when a water softener does what's called like a regeneration, similar to like a diesel engine with diesel exhaust fluid, it has to, after a certain amount of gallons, which is calculated based on a water test that you're going to do. Let's say, so every 4,000 gallons of water that passes through it, it has to regenerate. The water that it spits out has to go somewhere. We typically stub it out separately. We will stub it out separately. And I think that might be what you're talking about. You want that part stubbed out. Your husband wants that part stubbed out over by where the septic system is, which we can do as long as it goes into the third chamber. You don't want to dump that salt water into the first chamber or second chamber of your septic system. You want it to go into the last one, the treated water, so that it's just sprayed out. You do not want it going into the aerobic part of the septic system because it's salt water. You put that rock salt you see kind of at Walmart or HEB or wherever you buy them in the bags, you dump it into the water softener. That's what softens the water, is the sodium chloride, NaCl. You're welcome. I did listen one time in chemistry. But that's how that works. And so if you're talking about the stub, you want it to be over there. That's a totally different situation. You wouldn't have to move where it is. I do believe we could probably stub it out over there, but and look at the plan. I just don't know for sure. So ask your sales consultant, and they, if they need to, they can involve their regional construction manager. We'll get it squared away for you.
Okay. All right. So David is building in Myco.
What's up,
and
David?
he wants to know, if doing a cut in the side of a hill, can I use aggregate as a base on the low side?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't use aggregate. I'd kind of want dirt, me personally. The closest thing to what the rest of the dirt is, what you're kind of after, David, is we want, with engineers, would be ideal, is that all of the beams of the foundation are sitting on the same type of soil. So virgin soil, undisturbed soil, whatever term you want to use. That it would be best if it's all sitting on the same type of soil, so that it reacts similarly to excess moisture or lack of moisture. So aggregate may react differently to a drought or extreme wet season than the natural or the virgin or undisturbed soil would. So that's going to be really the key. I wouldn't use aggregate personally. It is common to do that on a crawl space. That may be a good way to do that. But as far as a post tension or reinforced slab on grade where we're digging beams down into the dirt, you want it all in the same kind of dirt.
Okay. All right. And now we've got another long question from Ed. We'll be building in Medina County, just south of Bandera, and we would like to add a pool within a year of the build. Given that Medina County has a lot of limestone, is it possible to coordinate with Tilson to excavate the round shape of the pool during the foundation excavation? It would allow us to break up any limestone, if any, then backfill it loosely, marking the area with stakes and caution tape to flag the corners. This way, when we're ready to install the pool, we can reopen the area without blasting through possible buried limestone or regrading anything, which could damage the foundation of the newly built home. Is there anything we need to consider if we did do this?
Yeah. So you probably work that directly with our contractor, because we're not gonna blast out for foundation. If we dig down and it's like if our engineers get out there, our geotechnical investigation, and they figure out that it's solid rock, they're not going to have us dig through that. Like the wise man built his house upon the rock. I read.
Yeah, they're like, this isn't moving. We're good.
Yeah. So we would not be excavating that anyway. So I don't know that there'd be any economies of scale or excavation. They're not going to blast here. I don't know how they do it in Seattle. They don't blast here, with very few exceptions. They don't blast. It's going to be a jackhammer on a skid steer or on a excavator of some sort. It's going to be 3 days of you're the worst neighbor in the subdivision, and that's just how it is. That's what's up. So the only time that they do that level of excavation to do that, it would be for a pool and or your septic system. So potentially it could happen then when they're doing the septic, but there might be some economies of scale, some savings then to do it when the septic's going in, but it will not be when the foundation's going in. We're not, if it's that much limestone and that solid of limestone, we're not busting it out. It's pretty rare that we encounter that, but we have encountered it. It's a real thing, because we did have a foundation guy for a while that was charging us to dig through it, and he was saw cutting it and jackhammering it out. We're like, what are you doing? You don't have to do this. This is not necessary.
All right, makes sense.
Question.
Tracy's asking if it's okay to have a third-party inspector.
Absolutely not. I'm kidding. Of course it is. Tracy, yes, absolutely you can. So actually, we're already doing it. That we already have our homes inspected by a third party. I know people don't think, oh yeah, but you're hiring them. We are, but they are truly independent third party. They have their own licenses they have to protect. We don't get a free pass. That's not how that works. And by the way, we do that no matter where we're building, inside of a city or outside, because counties not required in any way, shape, or form. We do it on every house. You were asking earlier about building the city of Cibolo. They will have their own inspector as well. So you're welcome to hire another one if you want to. You don't need to, because you'll be inspected by the third party that is already included in the price of our home, and you'll be being inspected by the city of Cibolo's inspector. You're welcome to hire another one. Here's what I will say. The building code is a little bit like the Constitution. There are some things that are prescriptive. Thou shalt do it this way. Thou shalt not do it that way. There are other things that are performance-based. In other words, as long as it does this, we don't care how you get it accomplished. We will 100% repair something that is done in a non-prescriptive manner. If it's done incorrectly against the code, we'll tear it out and redo it. If the inspector doesn't like how it's done, but it's still meeting the performance standards, we're not changing it. We have our reasons. We've been doing this for almost 100 years. We warrant the homes ourselves. The inspector is not warranting it. We are. His or her license does not beholden him or her to warrant the home or fix anything after the fact. So we have some things that we do. They seem a little quirky. We do them for a reason. So good. They're blowing the grass off. That's good. So we got.
Sorry.
You can tell who has a landscaping service and who does not. We don't do a lot of landscaping at the Allery Ranch. So that said, you're welcome to get one for your own peace of mind. I will say that it is very rare they go out there and just say, nope, everything's perfect, you're good. They do feel the need to justify their cost.
They're being paid to find something.
They're being paid to find something. They're going to give you, but some things are fact, and we will fix every one of those. Some things are opinion, and we'll say that's a very nice opinion. So I hope that I just try to be transparent about it.
And your builder will discuss that with you. We're not going to, we will talk you through point by point of what your inspector comes back with. It's not like we're just going to be like, nah, we're going to talk you through it. But just be prepared that if it's meeting what it's supposed to be doing, just because he didn't like that we did it that way, doesn't mean that what we did was wrong.
That's right.
So yeah. All right. Caesar's saying, good afternoon, Eric and Dawn. What insulation is included between rooms, if any? Is that an option?
All right, so we don't include any insulation between rooms because the ambient temperature should be the same from room to room. Every bedroom has a return air in it that goes back to maintain that pressure balance and temperature. So if you're looking for kind of a sound deadening, yes, we can offer. You can do spray foam in between those if you want to. You can do bat insulation between those if you want to. We can offer it. I'm just real upfront with people to tell them that the sound travels through the studs as well. So if you're really worried about sound, or like there's sound deadening board that can be used, or you can offset the studs where the studs aren't touching both sheetrock walls. So you lose a little bit of space in the rooms, but if you truly want to stop sound from traveling, you need to get the studs off of both walls. So because the sound waves travel through the studs. So yeah, I mean, you can insulate. I have zero insulation on any of my interior walls whatsoever in my house. Mostly because I don't care what my kids think, because they're not paying the mortgage anyway. So it doesn't matter if they're bothered.
Fair enough. All right. We got Amy saying, I'm with Teresa sitting in that brand new Tilson home, baking in this gigantic island in our Arlington Sea in Bernie.
Nice.
Have been so in love with our house and working with Tilson. If you're just starting, you're in great hands. Just remember, communication is key. State your expectations, and Tilson will move mountains to get it done for you if they can. Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks, Amy. Appreciate that.
All right. And Amanda's thanking you for all the advice on the water softener that, yeah, she was talking about the part that's going out. So that was super helpful.
Yeah.
David saying, awesome, thanks. Is it possible to get all of the rock saw work planned in advance so we only have to get the owner operator out to the land one time to cut down on cost?
Well, yeah, if there's rock saw work to be done, like if it's, if you're going to run your electrical lines, plumbing lines, all that, the exception would be we're not going to do that when we're doing the foundation. But again, it's very rare we're getting a rock saw out there to do any kind of work for the foundation. But yes, it is a thing for electrical lines that are being buried or water lines that are being buried, for sure. You can absolutely have one ditch dug for that stuff, and the rock saw done. So.
Okay. And then Amy's also sharing that her house is on solid rock, and she promises Ed we did not dig. Her house has about 18 inches of dirt, and then it's straight limestone for as deep as the septic is. And yes, we were that neighbor. Everybody hated while that was going in.
Don't worry, Ed. They call the number that's on the job site sign, not yours.
Yeah, they don't call you. It's fine.
No, they call us. They never confront the person they're going to have to live next to the rest of their lives. They always confront. We're the bad guy, so let us be that.
We will do that for you.
I make a great villain.
James is asking if I already have a plan, could you use it? And yes, absolutely we can. Do be prepared, bring in that plan that you have. That's what you're interested in doing, just so that I can set expectations for you. When you come into one of our design centers, what they're going to do is kind of look at your plan and go find the one of ours that is closest to it and start drawing on our plan to make it similar to the one that you brought in. The reason they're doing it is not that they're trying to switch you to our plan or tell you we can't work with that or anything like that. They're just trying to get you a price. And that is how our sales team is trained to price. They can't price from scratch. They have to start with one of our plans. So the reason they're doing that is that by making adjustments to a plan that we already have, they can estimate that cost for you. And if you're comfortable with that kind of investment level that they come up with, that they tell you this, it's going to be about this ballpark. If you're comfortable with that, we'll proceed to draw that plan up, to the original and get you the exact price. But I just want you to be prepared with what's going to happen, because that can be kind of confusing to people if we say, yeah, we can work with your plan, and then we start drawing on ours. It's not that we're not building yours. It's that's how we're trained to price. So that's what's going to happen.
Love it.
And then Ed says he has a final question. Does Tilson offer smart programmable LED lights or addressable LED strips for exterior use, like along eaves and soffits? We're interested in Wi-Fi controlled fixed holiday and security lighting. If not available, what changes should be made during construction to allow for this feature later?
So we don't offer those, but you don't have to make any changes, because we can just put outlets or receptacles in the soffit. That's the best way to do it. In my opinion, that's the best way to do it, and then tie that into a
switch in the house.
Switch in the house that's tied to what's her name, or it's another one called TP Link, and TP Link they can talk to her, the one who should not be named, who starts and ends with an A.
Yes.
So yeah, TP Link has some fixtures that do that, and then yeah, I would just stick outlets in the soffits personally that are tied to a switch, at the front or back porch or something like that, and go.
All right.
There's a neighbor of ours that has that, and it's quite the show when you drive by. There's always something going on. I don't think they know. I think they're inside and they don't understand what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot happening out here in Grimes County, so it's the talk of the town.
Okay. Paul is asking, will we know the costs that we will owe for surveys, soil tests, etc., after the site evaluation?
Good news. The soil test is included. So there's no cost for that. The engineer foundation design is included. The geotechnical investigation is included. Typically, you'll know the survey beforehand. You either have one that's already done. If you don't have a survey that's done, just let us handle it, and we'll take care of both the survey, the boundary survey up front, as well as the final survey when the house is completed. The lender's going to want that. But yeah, so you'll know that before the site evaluation.
Okay. And Stacy, referring to the question about the plans that I was talking about, she said that's exactly what happened to us. We went in with a plan and ended up customizing the Polidoro plan extensively. We moved in November and love it. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Beautiful. All right, folks. Last call for questions. We're just a touch over, but hey, Dawn and I are here. We're not going anywhere.
Yep.
She's not going outside because they're blowing pollen around out where she is. We're not doing that.
Hey, maybe they're getting rid of some of it.
Great.
I can hope.
Great. I'd give it a couple hours to settle. Anyway, so ask any questions you want. Drop in the chat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Ask it there. While that's happening, Dawn, what in the world is happening around the great state of Texas at Tilson Homes, the Republic of Tilson, as we'll call it?
So we actually have 4 seminars going on this weekend. The first one that we have is you talked about that like lull after we do mechanicals. We actually have what we call the Muddy Boots tour at one of our customers' homes near Comfort, Texas. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's an opportunity for you to go out to an actual customer's home. I'm going to put up a QR code if you guys want to register for that. And you can actually go to the customer's home. You're going to be there with their builder, and he's going to talk you through exactly what goes into the construction of our home and actually show it to you. So this is the opportunity to really see where the quality starts. You're looking at the foundation, you're looking at all the framing, you're looking at the mechanicals, you're looking at the spray foam insulation. You're seeing everything that's behind the sheetrock. So before we make it all pretty, and everything, honestly, where all the quality is in your home, that's really an opportunity that you have to go ahead and see that and tour it. So we do still have a few seats left at that. We do keep these events smaller since it is on our customer's property. We want to be respectful of that. But yeah, if that's something that you'd be interested in seeing, we really only get to do these once every couple months. So highly recommend that you go do that if you're interested in that. If you can't make it out to Comfort and you're interested in any other topics, we do have seminars happening at our Bryan College Station location. They'll be talking about the building process, so talking through that construction process and everything that happens there. Our Melissa location is going to be talking all things land prep. So they'll talk about everything you need to do to get your property ready for construction in those stages, that the processes that we're going to go through, and give you some tips. And then our Angleton office is going to have one on choosing the right builder. So they're going to go through some comparison points and questions. If you're talking to multiple builders, the things that you want to make sure that you're comparing them on, so you're getting, apples to apples. So talking about things like pricing practices, financing, who does the warranty, those types of things. So that kind of information, if you're interested in that, you can register to go see about it at Angleton.
Very cool.
All right. And we do have on Instagram, we've got Allison sharing that the more she watches these live videos, the more excited I am to get started on our future home. Just waiting on a meeting with our real estate attorney to acquire the land from our family. So awesome. And then we also have another one saying, we're interested in multiple bids on a property. Are they able to help with infrastructure, for example, roads and utilities?
Yes. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, awesome. And then let's see, we got a couple other questions. Lisa is asking what the square footage is on the Whitney.
It's like 1,813 square feet, I think. It's somewhere in there. Low 18.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Used to be 1803, and then they messed with it, and I don't know what drafting did, but I had it memorized for everyone. It was a Carlton. So
They like to refresh it every once in a while.
I'm old.
All right. And Lisa is asking about how much is the LaSalle for Brazoria County?
I don't have that pulled up, Don. That's all you.
I don't either.
What? I don't even know where to
I
get that.
know. I'm sorry. Hold on. I will pull it up for you.
Don will pull up the cheat sheet. While she's doing that, Stacy Boone had the asphalt driveway or concrete.
Yeah, Stacy's asking about asphalt driveway or concrete.
I don't know if you're asking my opinion or what's included if you're building in one of the ranches. If you're building in like Republic or one of those, the Grand Ranches, it's going to be concrete. My opinion is concrete, but I do know at a certain point it becomes cost prohibitive. Like I get it. I don't have a concrete driveway because it's a long way. It's a half a mile to my house, so I'm not about that. Doesn't matter how bad my wife wants one. It's asphalt. So it was rock for the first couple of years, and Merry Christmas. She got asphalt for Christmas. That's what you do when you're are out there. So, but I mean, concrete certainly requires less maintenance if it's done correctly. So it has a good solid base, which it would be the construction drive that we use. Optimally, you have us do the construction drive, or you do the construction drive where you're going to put your permanent drive, and that way you have heavy trucks running on it for 7 months, packing it really well, and then you can put. That's usually what compromises a concrete or asphalt road long term is an unstable base. So that's my opinion.
Okay. And back to Lisa's question on the LaSalle in Brazoria County, that is going to start at $545,000, somewhere in that, and it is March 24th, 2026. Is what I'm giving you that. And I am including, I'm assuming that county, we always kind of assume that we need to comply with windstorm requirements. So I am giving you the pricing with that all in. So
that include your hurricane clips, your hurricane straps, all the stuff.
Yep.
Your WPI8 certification for your insurance, which you will have to have. That's going to be included.
Okay, awesome. And then someone's asking, good afternoon, can you downsize the Lone Star to fit my budget of around $40,000 to $450,000?
How do we usually do that, Don? What's the best way to do it?
So usually the best thing to do if you're looking at a larger plan and you're looking to downsize it, I would actually start with a smaller plan. Yep. So find the smaller plan that the layout generally works for your family, and go to your sales consultant and tell them what are the features of the Lone Star that you really, what made you fall in love with the plan, and they can work with you to incorporate those into the smaller plan. It's just the more efficient way to do it rather than to try to subtract square footage. It's much easier and more efficient to add and rearrange as we need to. So I would find a smaller plan that has kind of the general layout you're looking at, and then add in the special features, which is I'm guessing might be that bathroom, something that looks like that. They can help you kind of figure out how to incorporate that into a smaller plan and get it into your budget.
Can do.
And then Truly is saying, building in Elmont, what's your opinion on water heaters?
I like conventional and I like tankless. I can do either one. The only things I don't really love are electric tankless. I'm kind of anti those, just because of how much power they require. Because the water is moving through the tankless water heater rapidly, and so supplying enough electricity to those elements to heat it up to the temperature you're going to want for it to be considered hot water, it's crazy amount of kilowatts that it requires. So I like gas tankless, and I'm good with electric or gas conventional water heaters. The beauty of I'm fine with them being in an attic. I have tankless water heaters. They're both in my attic. Mm-hmm. I sleep just fine at night. Well, I don't sleep much anyway, but I'm not worried about my water heaters. That's like the least of my worries. And they have pans underneath them with 2 fail safes. Like it's not a factor. The beautiful part about having them in the attic is that you can centrally locate them, which makes for equal distribution to all parts of the home for your hot water. No one's waiting for minutes and minutes and minutes for hot water. So there's pros and cons. That's my opinion.
Okay.
And I like Elmont too. Elmont's a cool spot.
Yeah, awesome. Over on Instagram, Flora was saying she was interested on multiple bids for things like roads and utilities. And yes, we can
Oh yeah,
help you with that. We always do multiple bids
yeah.
on everything. So
Because if you don't have multiple bids, you have what's called a price, which is very different.
you have a price. It's not a bid. Yeah. All right. And then Brad Coleman is saying he's building a Livingston right now and very happy with Tilson
Oh,
Homes.
cool.
So thank you.
Right.
And then Allison is saying if there are multiple spaces on, let's say, a 300-acre property, can Tilson help us figure out the most ideal place to build the house?
Yes.
Yes.
And will. Good place to start though, to start looking when you're cruising around right now. Power lines. Power is going to be, I'm assuming there's no water anywhere near or sewer for sure. So don't worry about those two. You're going to be punching a well in most likely, although not exclusively. You could have public water somewhere. And you might never know, as a matter of fact. But power will be something to play in. I'm not going to tell you that it should be your only deciding factor, because it shouldn't be. You have 300 acres, put the house where you want it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you bought the place. But that's your infrastructure is going to be your high cost items, right? So your road and your power on a 300-acre site, those are going to be your two largest costs if the road's already there.
Okay.
The water well won't cost you any more whether you're on 3 acres or 300 acres. Like they're just going straight down. So,
all right.
Same with septic.
Okay. And Paul is asking, do we need to purchase builder's insurance, or is this something Tilson provides, like weather-related incidents while the home is being built?
Paula, you are a marketing genius. And the answer is we are one of the few builders that includes builder's risk insurance in our contract. So no, you don't pay for anything. We provide all the builder's risk insurance, all the general liability insurance, and workman's comp for our employees. So that's all covered. We also require that our independent contractors, our trade partners, they have to carry insurance as well. And if they don't have it, we take it out of their check and we pay for it. So yeah, they're all insured, builder's risk insurance. So builder's risk is for things like what she's been like, weather-related event, hurricane comes and takes the house out halfway through construction, fire breaks out the day before you close, and the house burns down completely. That's all covered by Tilson's builder's risk insurance policy. Most other custom builders require you to go out and get your own builder's risk insurance policy. Yeah, we're not about that. We want to decide how much is covered since we're the ones not getting paid till the house is finished. So we choose the coverage. So yeah, great question.
All right, awesome. Sorry, I'm pulling up pricing because our last question is on that. Debbie is asking for Aransas County, what the cost of a Canyon C with a garage and vaulted great room would be. And I've got that again. It is March 24th, 2026. That's going to come in at around $418,000. And then she's also asking about screening in the back porch and what that would cost. And I do not have that price.
But you're going to have to contact the sales office for that.
That is not in the baby price book that they allow me to access. So
yeah,
I can't. I don't have that. But yeah, your consultant can price that for you very easily if you just give them a visit or give them a call. All right. And that is all the questions I see. I actually did not get to go to any of my pre-formulated commonly asked questions. So sorry, guys, but I wanted to make sure that we got to all of yours. We'll try this again another time.
Absolutely. All right. Well, folks, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being on this platform, these platforms with us. Asking the questions, being interested, giving us a shot. We are a family-owned company, and so we appreciate the opportunity to get to serve yours. It's not lost on us that you have options. So thanks for giving us a shot. Obviously, it doesn't end here. We have a website, opens 24/7. We got an Instagram page. We got a YouTube channel. We have a Facebook page. We're not mentioning the other one because they won't put us on their platform, so we don't care. What else? We have 12 design centers open 7 days a week with model homes to tour through. No big deal. Just fully furnished models to go hang out, get a cup of coffee, grab a bottle of water, sit down with a sales consultant, ask these specific questions about like, hey, what's the screen porch? What's it going to cost? What's it look like? And they can answer, I want to put the kitchen of this house into this one. I want the bathroom here. I want to downsize this plan. I want to upsize this plan. That's what they're there for. That's what they do. They're the best in the world at it. They are literally nationally acclaimed, award-winning, sales consultants and online sales team. So yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys. And anyway, we genuinely Hope that you find these helpful. We have a YouTube channel that's got hours and hours and hours of content on there that you can binge. All of these are posted to our website as well, but they're also on YouTube, of course, and Vimeo. Almost said Venmo. Do not send us money.
Do not send us money.
We will never ask you for money via Venmo. That's not happening. So don't do that. Anyway, we hope you find these helpful, and we genuinely soon hope to make you part of the Tilson family. We will see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.